What's up, guys? Welcome back to Crypto Weekly Review, home of the Wolf Pack. Now, we have a very special guest with us today. It's somebody who I follow on Telegram. His name is Secret Money Club. A good friend of mine, his name is Henry. He is here with us today to talk macro and talk FOMC. Henry, can you give us a little bit of background, like how you got into the finance space?
Hey Wolf, thanks for having me on. And I would also like to thank everybody for tuning in, anybody tuning in. Uh, basically, I will go ahead and start off. Basically, I've been in this market, my friend, for about 8 years, you can say. On and off, on and off. I've worked different jobs, but recently, for the most, like, past 3 years, almost 4 years, I've been serious into trading, doing it daily, doing it as a full-time job.
Okay. Yeah. So I noticed that in your Telegram chat, you focus a lot on the macros, and that's kind of the mantra of this channel. We always say it's a crystal ball into what's going to happen with cryptocurrency, as a lot of my followers follow crypto very closely, and I'm trying to get them geared into looking at the macros as far as the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, what's going on in global politics, because all of that really does influence cryptocurrency, because I believe crypto is just a leveraged position, a volatile position of the S&P 500. So with that being said, what do you think? Let's jump right into it. Everybody is thinking about the FOMC. Is the Fed ready to pivot? I know Joe Biden came out today and saying that he supports a pivot. I don't know what Jerome Powell is going to do. It seems like we have had some strong economic data, which kind of points to the Federal Reserve having more room to crank rates. What do you think?
Oh, well, to start off, to answer your first question, they always say when in doubt, zoom out. So try to look for the bigger picture first.
Hmm.
Try to find the sentiment of the market in general. Then you base on that. So that's why I like to start my day basically in general, looking at macroeconomics. I see we're in a inflationary environment. So basically, when you're in an inflationary environment, you like to look for a couple of things to fight this environment that you're in. And basically, I look for the macro, I look for the data being released, I look for what the Fed is saying, I look for hints in communication. That's most important in in my view.
Okay. So what do you? So this is, if you're watching this, this is before the FOMC meeting tomorrow. Everybody's expecting a 75 basis point rate hike. Do you think that's coming? And what's that going to do to the market? Everyone's expecting a pivot. Everyone's expecting this to be the bottom. Do you think so?
Well, actually, you see, that's the thing about the markets. You can never guess what happens next in these type of environments. As we said, everything is data dependent.
Hmm.
Heading into yesterday, heading into the monthly close,
Hmm.
everybody started getting a little bit more bullish through the dovish communication that basically we've been hearing from Powell and some of the Fed members. They've basically been saying that they want to slow the rate of these pace hikes, and people basically are picking up on this, okay?
Hmm.
Because communication is more clear after the Jacksonville. Communication is more clear. Not before Jacksonville. Uh, the only thing we would hear from Powell is inflation is transitory.
Yeah. Yeah, and ever since Jackson Hole, I mean, he's been really crushing the market with the rhetoric. Some people will say that that's really all they have, because we really cannot raise interest rates that high without crushing the debt markets, So in the credit markets, because we have $30 trillion in debt and somewhere around 5-6% interest, it would almost take all of the United States tax dollars just to service the debt, meaning just to pay for the inflation on the debt. So what are some of the things that you look? What are some of the charts or things that you look at to gauge or try to predict which way the markets are going to move?
Well, I like to start my day as I said. I trade in general. I trade the market in ranges. I treat it as a range, and
Mhm.
based on historical price action, basically, we start breaking down this high time frame range into lower time frames, and we like to find the next direction in general. But when you're in a inflationary environment, one very important thing you got to look at is the volatility index for the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They
Hmm.
basically have a volatility index for the S&P 500 futures, and this gives us an indication in general on how the market wants to move based on the volatility. If the volatility is increasing, basically,
Hmm.
uh, the market goes down. If the volatility is decreasing, you're going to see the market pivot up, basically.
Do you have a screen share of that of the
Um,
Chicago Mercantile Exchange? And because I kind of did look at a picture of it, or I did look at the website. I got to be honest with you, I was trying to figure out what all of it means.
well,
Um,
but it's actually a chart from CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. I'm going to share my screen with you. You're going to see that in front of you.
okay.
Um, this chart basically it's paid access to get the early data on it, and
Hmm.
basically it's just a volatility index. It measures the volatility for the S&P 500 futures. When it goes down, basically, I understand that the market is going up, and when it's bouncing off support, I understand that's when the market is deciding to go down. So you see these all these
Hmm.
bounces right here. I've been shorting the market from these bounces based only on this chart. If you use this as confluence in general, it helps you a lot. We can see this is like a resistance, a range high for resistance, and this is the range low. Basically, when you see price starting to get up here, I
Hmm.
would recommend you start basically taking profit on short positions. And when price is rejecting for, that's when you can go long, and down here you take profit on your longs. I'm expecting us to head to the lower 20s, okay? So this is the biggest indication that's telling me the market is probably going to be bullish heading into the end of this year. That's
Okay.
one thing I look at. Another thing I look at, I'm also going to show you here. I look
Hmm.
at micro strategies, basically micro strategy uh, chart, and basically based on that, I can have a view. This basic, in my opinion, this is basically a Bitcoin ETF. They hold the most Bitcoin, and
Sure.
basically, Bitcoin's price correlates with this. Sometimes you will see the stock break down before Bitcoin's price. This
Hmm.
helped me when we were trading. Let me have a look at this 1 second. Daily
Now,
chart.
but didn't they just miss earnings?
Yeah, they did actually miss earnings today. We're gonna look at the reaction of that. You see this area right here that I'm pointing
Mhm.
at?
Yeah.
Okay, basically,
What,
MSTR and Bitcoin.
what dates is that?
This is from January.
Okay.
The beginning of January, we had this ascending channel. Basically, we were trading in, and as you can see right here, we broke down from this channel.
Hmm.
Starting in April, we started breaking down. But if you look here, let me show you this.
Okay.
Okay, let's say this is the channel in general. Okay, this is for Bitcoin. Okay, and we can see the breakdown is right here on this candle was basically on May 6th, 1 a.m. If we look at MSTR, basically, we draw the same channel, and basically we can see the retest of the breakdown here on which date. This is basically April 22nd. So this started breaking down almost eight to almost 2 weeks before Bitcoin started breaking down. As you can see here, uh,
Hmm.
the 25th of April, it broke down out of this channel. We can see it clearly. If we look at Bitcoin, we can say, okay, do we want to consider this as a breakout? Let's consider we broke down here. This is still 2 day difference, but the real breakout, in my opinion, was here,
Hmm.
which was on the 5th of May. So these are, as you can see, we've seen the breakdown here before we got it on. Uh, I'm sorry, we see the breakdown here after we get it on MSTR. So basically, MSTR breaks down, then
Oh
Bitcoin
yeah.
follows. We can
Yeah,
see
they
price.
breached at the same time, but MicroStrategies kept dumping.
Exactly, exactly.
Bitcoin had like a little bit of a fake out. It was riding that trend line, you know. But yeah. So so now they are getting a little bit of a dump here off of the bad earnings, but it's not terrible, you know, like they're not getting that insane dump that we've seen with Amazon, we had or with Facebook or anything like that. I mean, they missed earnings, but that's not really a strong dump though.
Well, they made revenue, as you can see. They estimated 127 million in
Hmm.
revenue, 127.185, and they reported basically 133 million in revenue.
Okay,
So,
so
and
how are they getting any revenue at all? I mean, they've just borrowed a ton of money and bought a bunch of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is down. So how are they making revenue? Is
well,
it off of
basically,
this bounce?
money is going into the stock. Basically,
So more people are coming in.
they try to forecast how much money they're going to make off their stock, basically.
Hmm.
And more people came in that they expected. We can see Bitcoin's price went up as well, so that caused the demand. If you can see, I'm looking at here this 230 level that I got marked out. This
Hmm.
230 level basically is, if you can look at the chart here, let me head on to the monthly chart. This is the old chart. This is MSTR stock from 1998. This is when the dot-com bubble happened and Michael Saylor lost all his money when the crash happened.
Yeah.
Basically, we're looking at the first all-time high we ever made on MSTR, which is at 230 right here, which was on August 3rd, 1998. We are trading near those levels again, and
Okay.
we're basically finding support. This is another indication that we can say, okay, Bitcoin can be bullish currently.
Okay. It looks like it looks like a level of support right here. So do you think that that the bottom is in at least for the rest of the year, which is, you know, only 2 more months? Do you think we're going to have some positive price actions sideways up for the rest of the month because of your volatility index on the CME?
Well, based on two examples that we just showed, the VIX and the CME, I do expect us to increase in price. I do believe we will reach the probably the 28K area. I'll show a chart of mine. I have my prediction. I've had this for a couple of months, basically.
Okay.
Um, I'm basically expecting. There's three levels that I'm watching currently. As you know, I'm a day trader, so I look at separate levels daily. I break
Hmm.
down and look at separate. First level I'm looking at in general is the 22.8K, which is last September's high. That's
Okay.
the first level that I'm focusing on. If we get above that level, then the next level is going to be basically this high right here
Hmm.
from August, and basically that's going to be at 25,200. If we manage to break that level, I do expect us to reach the 28K area. We test this area here. I will use my confluence with the VIX. If I see us bouncing from here,
Hmm.
I will know, okay, it's time to short. I'll look at price action on Bitcoin. I'll take my short and I'll use proper risk management as we do basically. And I'll look at the environment in general, but technical analysis is separate. I feel like when a breakout is about to happen or when anything is about to happen, basically you get this big news, and this big news is what breaks support or breaks resistance in general.
Okay. So yeah, so you were expecting a pump to about 28K, and then you would be shorting that area depending on what's going on, depending on where the VIX is at on the CME, and depending on what the macro market looks like, what the Federal Reserve is saying. But I think everyone's pretty sure that they really can't raise that much more, because what are they? Their benchmark target is like what, four and three quarter or 5%, 4.5, 5% in 2023. I mean, if they raise three or 75 basis points, that's going to put us up at 4. They really don't have that much room to continue to raise rates. However, they are signaling that they are going to continue to deleverage their balance sheet, or sell part of their balance sheet. So is everybody, this is generally why everybody is bullish right now, correct?
uh that is correct in general, but I want you to understand something. This is something we can also tell tell the viewers as well. we're basically currently, when you raise interest rates, there's a there's a certain point which is called the neutral rate. That is from the 2.25 to 2.5 area. Okay,
Okay.
when you get above the 2.5 area and you're raising interest rates, basically you get into they call it the, one second, let me remember this. Um, they call it the terminal rate. Yeah, the
Okay.
terminal rate. So basically, if we're above 2.5, we leave the neutral rate and we start to enter something called the restrictive territory, and this is where we start to meet the terminal rate. They've made it clear where the visions coming forward is going to be 4.5% to 5%, um, basically an increase in general.
Yep.
But we do have to understand something which is different from these different macro environments that we had before. Okay, uh, basically, I told you this before. I told you this last time. We're
Hmm.
basically currently dealing with a trilemma. Okay,
Yeah.
we're dealing in economic slowdown. We're dealing in high interest rates. We're dealing in high inflation. This is something that was never fought before by any other Federal Reserve banker in general.
Okay. Yeah, and over in Europe, we have the highest inflation that we have ever had since the European Union started. I believe it is over 10% inflation. So I'm struggling
It
to,
was around 10. Was it 10.2 or 10.4? So
yeah,
it
something,
was something. It was something like that. Their expectations were just something else. Their expectations were not even near what
yeah,
what
they're,
what they were looking for. Look at this. This is a chart of their basically their expectations versus the current inflation in
mhm,
Europe. We're at 10.7, and down here is near the 2 to the 2.5 area, which is basically the neutral rate. They're predicting the neutral rate. Look how far off we are. They're
yeah,
asking the head of the ECB. She's telling us inflation came out of nowhere. Are you
yeah.
serious?
Yeah, we were talking about that in my last stream. That is absolutely comical. I mean, even a fourth grader could see that if you print $8 trillion, if you tell people to stay home, if you break the supply chains, and then you give people a bunch of free money, of course there's going to be inflation because inflation comes when there is more currency units than is the supply of currency units is way higher than the supply of goods and services. I mean, it's the perfect storm for inflation if you print a bunch of money and then at the same time destroy the supply chains. You know what I mean? Like I don't see how they could possibly, honestly, with a straight face, say that it came from nowhere. So whatever. But
No,
yeah,
no, the Federal Reserve in general, they just started becoming clear, as we said, it was after the Jackson Hole.
hmm,
That's when they started becoming clear with their messages. That's when we started looking for the right communication from Powell and his team. Because as investors, we need to understand the last rate hike was priced in. You seen how price moved.
yeah. It seems like the rate hikes are priced in, but everybody wants to hear his tone. That's the world we're living in. It doesn't matter that Facebook is down more than Bitcoin. It's an absolute shitcoin, right? It doesn't matter that Amazon is dumping 20%. None of that matters. The only thing matters is what's Powell going to do next. That's the upside down clown world that we're living in, and it's that part alone is making me giving me a hard time to get bullish. Now I sold the 65K top on this channel, the second 65K top. I also exited some shit coins beautifully. I saw like basically double bearish divergence on Bitcoin. I saw that we had the massive divergence between the first 65K top and the other, and then if you looked inside, there was even more divergence on the RSI on a smaller time frame inside there, and that's when I took profits. Now I've been struggling with, I'm starting to get FOMO a little bit more too, because it's clear that if they're going to slow down on the rate hikes, it's just a matter of Is something actually going to break? Are we all going to just jump back in the market? Is the bull run going to return now that this is probably going to be the last 75 basis point rate hike? Everybody is hinging their investment strategy on that. And I just think that the herd is usually wrong. The mass majority of people are usually absolutely wrong. So I don't know what your take on that is. I think you're more of like a technical analyst, like you're just looking at kind of the charts and
Well,
making your
it's clear. It's clear. If Powell tomorrow comes out and says we're going to be raising 50 basis points, we look at the data and it's 50 basis points, then you're going to see the market pivot. Even the head of JP Morgan is telling you we can see a 10% rally. We're looking
yeah.
at financials. Like we looked at some basic confluence that I use that really helps the VIX and MSTR. We can see its potential for a pivot. We can see some stocks actually have been finding bottoms. Apple when they released the iPhone 14, they had a little bit of difficulties with the camera and social media. I don't know
Hmm.
what they had exactly, basically, but in the end, their distribution was on point, and even today they announced they're sending some workers from Tesla to China. So Apple is doing basically what they're saying they want to do, and we
Yeah,
can see it's basically trying to find the bottom right here. The Dow Jones has made the best. The Dow Jones had the best month. Was it like
and
since
basically in
1946
46 years or something like that.
years? Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
40. Had the best month in 46 years.
Well, but on the other side, could you say, well, and at that point, we need a little bit of a cool down, a little bit of a correction in the Dow Jones after the greatest month of all time? Usually things like to correct and find some support before they continue climbing up. But hey, like Warren Buffett says, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So, I mean, this thing could absolutely just rip out of here. But I'm not going to lie, man, I'm still bearish. I want these charts to prove themselves to me. I want them to come to me and show me that this is the bottom. But of course then I would miss like 10-15% of the rally. But if it's that 10-15% of the next bull market, I might be okay with that. So you're the big time. I mean, this is what you do. This is what you're trading. So so tell me, what do you think?
Well, if we look at something that's really important, this is a trade we took in the channel, me and the guys. Basically, we're watching one level, really important level. This is the 12-month time frame. Basically, this is the 2021 low. So basically, I marked that out. And if we look at the daily time frame, we can see the first time we head into here, we found a pivot. And the
Yeah.
second time we head into here, we took out some stops. There was a small gap right here on the
Hmm.
Dow Jones. We took that out and basically rallied after.
But we really have not broken the trend line.
No, not yet. It's a bear market rally. That's what they call it. It should end soon, but the thing is, you cannot base it on the Dow Jones because if you look, for
Right.
example, if you look at the
Right.
Russell 2000, the Russell 2000, it's been holding really good.
So how would you explain the Russell 2000 to a bunch of crypto guys?
Basically, the Russell 2000, basically, Bitcoin correlates with tech stocks, so people like
Mhm.
to watch the S&P 500. I like to watch the Russell 2000 sometimes because it's US 2000 basically. I like to watch the Russell because the let me show you guys this. I'm gonna do a comparison between Bitcoin and the Russell. And if you guys can see, the first all-time high we made on Bitcoin
Mhm.
was with the Russell, and the
Yeah.
second all-time high was also with the Russell.
Yes.
So I'm seeing more correlation here. So I like to watch this a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Bitcoin is definitely a leverage version of that. What's the blue one?
The blue one is the Russell, and the
Oh, okay.
orange one
Oh,
is
gotcha.
Bitcoin.
Gotcha. That helps. Yep. How's the S&P? Can you put that on there too? Just curious. Okay, here we go.
But you see, the
Yeah,
first all-time
yes,
high
I see that.
when it
Yeah,
was made, the S&P was still rallying.
yeah. The
There's
S and
still
P was
strong
behind.
correlation. There's still strong correlation between all of these, as we can see. But
Yeah, it seems like
I prefer the Russell sometimes when there's confusion.
okay. All right. So let's see. Now, do you what are some of your are you just solely a trader, or do you hodl any cryptocurrency, or like what coins are you interested in, and what coins are you bullish on?
I'm usually bullish on coins that have utility. Most of these coins, you're gonna find them in the top 10, to be honest.
Hmm.
I do look for if I am looking at Trust Wallet token coin. That's something I'm
Hmm.
looking at maybe for a potential future. I'm looking at some of these gaming coins, but with the Meta news and Facebook cutting back on the spending, that kind of makes me personally want to stay a little bit away from those metaverse coins for now.
Yeah, I mean, I did I actually did a little bit of research on this myself. I think at last week or a week before that, Sandbox had 38 active users, and I'm telling you, man, that's probably mostly devs. That's probably mostly the development team in there. There's nobody there. It's a ghost town. Nobody's using it. It was all like this kind of like hopium pump hype, which is like you don't want to
Pay to
counter trade that in a
pay,
bull
pay, to,
rally.
pay yeah, the pay to play hype.
Yeah, like, yeah, we're gonna yeah, exactly, like the people that pay BitBoy $40,000 and then he'll pump it for you. He'll shill it for you, you know what I mean? Like I really feel like it got pumped and shilled, and I'm not against that, like cool, pump it. But for all I care, you know what I mean? And like in a bull market, I don't try to counter trade the hype. You always want to jump on the hype in the sandbox, mana and all that stuff. All that stuff was hype back then, but really in the bear market, the tide recedes and you see those people were all swimming naked. Nobody cares about metaverse, just like I suspected. Just because I think that no one cares about metaverse for real doesn't mean it can't pump. You know, but yeah, it just goes to show you. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a lot of development or interest in those tokens. Have you heard of Hex?
I've heard. I'm not a fan of Hex. I
You're
don't
not
know
a fan
much
of
about
Hex?
it
Or
yet.
not? Is it Richard's is it the founder's antics, or is it just kind of like there's a black stain on it from the cryptocurrency space? It seems like everybody is kind of like blackballing it, that kind of thing. Or
I feel like Americans are more into it, to be honest.
hmm.
But mostly the westernized culture. I feel like they're more into Hex. I really don't have an idea on it. When I usually want to look up something, I like to look at the white paper personally, do my own
Hmm.
research, see what they're providing as a product in general. Then I like to make it. I really don't know about Hex, to be honest. Even though it's been around for ages, it's something that I haven't followed.
Okay, and what about Doge? Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, and I've been reading some reports that he wants to make Twitter more of a protocol and less as a company, and wants to make it kind of like a cryptocurrency or cryptocurrency based. And he's even gone as far to say as it'll cost zero point 0.1 Doge to send a tweet, which in my opinion would be kind of a bad look for Twitter, because I mean, some people, to pay money just to make a tweet is kind of silly in my opinion. I think people will shy away from that. But what do you think about Doge? It seems like the meme artist himself, Elon Musk, has got a big platform. He's got big companies, and he loves Doge. Do you think that Dogecoin is going to be
Well,
um,
he was chilling Doge and saying Doge is gonna go to $1 basically, but I don't really believe if this guy basically, I don't believe that if he was gonna do something so potential with the pro, I don't think he's gonna make the news so public that much. I could be wrong, to be honest, but if you look
mhm.
at Doge, basically Doge, it's already done what from the all-time low to the all-time high, it's done 42,000%.
Mhm. So you're saying that's kind of at the top of its S curve, that it's kind of played out. You're not really too interested in. I mean, it could definitely 10x from here. I think you could get a 10x off of that bad boy.
I don't believe so in my opinion. to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, let me look at something. Let me see
Okay.
if I can find this indicator. Um,
It's something I definitely want to pick up at the bottom of the bear market. Just as a hodl position, I think that it's a household name. And in the next rally, I believe that we could get a nice FOMO pump into it, just simply because it's a household name. You know, just simply because it's easy to access it with a click of a button. That it's on all the major exchanges. It's clearly not a security. It doesn't really have a bunch of issues with OFAC, things like that. It's really just kind of like its own thing. Now, Dogecoin also has,
it's a proof of work. Miners like it.
yeah,
It's
and
really
also they have
connected
their
with
own chain.
LTC.
They have an EVM, so they have their own chain, and it's kind of popping too. That's a nice rally, dude. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to buy the top of that rally. Hopefully, it does not run away from me, but I don't want to buy the top of that rally right there.
Yeah, I'll probably look for maybe a newer project with newer potential. Like
Hmm.
I still think prices can come down in general for many altcoins that still haven't given you the big buying signal. I do still think that after this bear market rally, we should probably drop. We should see some lower prices, but I think this will happen slowly, basically, in a slow cycle. It won't happen one go, but basically, if we start to stop increasing interest rates and start to decrease, you're going to see the market start to pump.
Yeah. Now, is it going to be a like an insane V-shaped recovery back to S&P all-time highs, or is it going to be like some slow, steady, boring grind that'll put you to sleep? I happen to think that we're going to climb out like crazy. I happen to clean. I think we're going to climb out like a fighter jet. You know. Um,
It's you can look at many moving averages like the 200-day. You can look for golden crosses. You can
mhm.
there's this the linear regression bands for Bitcoin. I don't know if you had a look at this before. Let me show you
Let's
the
take a look.
non-linear Bitcoin regression bands basically. And let me put this off on a different chart. Bitstamp has the most data. As you can see, every time basically we drop below this orange line, Bitcoin has been a good buy, to be
Mhm.
honest.
And now it's just goodbye. It's
Well,
below it. It's
it's
rejected it.
it's either a good buy or a good buy. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, it's always been a good buy, but this time, look, we have pumped up. We've retested the bottom of the regression band, and then we've rejected. And not only have we rejected, but we've also set a new low. I just don't see how we can keep climbing out of here. But like, hey, like this stuff, it doesn't have to. It can do whatever it wants. It can be irrational. But to me, looking at this, I don't know. Maybe we pump up into the end of the year and test that bottom of that regression band right there. Could that be possible?
well, exactly. This can come into confluence with my previous projection, the 28K area. This can
Mm-hmm.
come back up, test that, maybe give us another V shape like this. We could have a sideways slow probably market just below this orange line, probably form a
Mm-hmm.
range from 28K maybe to 17.5K and just trade like this until we start to gain momentum throughout till the halving, because through the halving I think we can increase in
Oh yeah,
prices. The
yeah,
halving,
absolutely.
it's like we can see it's been done before.
Yes, absolutely. The having it, all bets are off once we start getting closer to the having. Like I think the decoupling from the S&P, decoupling from traditional markets altogether, and then Bitcoin is just going to go on a rally. If anything, Bitcoin's going to pull up the S&P 500, and pull up the Nasdaq with it as it continues to rally into the having. I think it's not going to give a crap what the markets are doing unless we have some kind of crazy global macro black swan event or something. I really see Bitcoin just doing whatever it wants, doing what it does around the halving. How would you call the bottom? Like what? How can we confirm a bottoming pattern? Where at what point? Let me ask you like this: At what point would you say, "All right, we've bottomed, bull market's on"? You know how bull markets are, man. No matter where you put the money, you are the wolf of Wall Street, right? No matter where you put the money, you're a genius level trader, right? At what point? I know this is a hard question, but at what point do we call it a bull market? At what point do we confirm? What would you say?
Well, you know what they say. Those who like to pick bottoms, basically, they get smelly fingers. I don't, I don't really like to pick bottoms, to be honest, but
Yeah.
it can be possible. Like you can look at, is this a huge bull flag forming, for example? You can never know.
Ooh, yeah.
Like the
I think
markets
it.
don't have to do anything. Like that's the thing about trading. The market usually basically like the market makes its decision and basically you react on that.
Okay, so you taking a look at this, you have an interesting line right here on the S&P 500. This is a target that I've been saying for a long time. This has been my S&P target for a very long time here. This is the top before the cozy 19 low. And yes, that's silly, but what I'm doing here is just speaking in code because we're on YouTube. But
Oh,
um
it's
but yeah, right
COVID
before
top.
the yeah. We try not to say that word because then you get flagged and stuff on
Oh,
YouTube and
okay.
demonetized and all
Okay.
that.
Oh,
So I always
okay.
just say cozy 19. I know it's silly, but
The
it's something that
yeah,
for the
the
algorithms.
the the cozy 19 top. They
Yeah,
made the
right
investors
before
really
the
cozy,
low.
as you can
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
You can see here the investors were really cozy.
Yeah, investors were super cozy. We were all sitting at our house under a blanket with our girlfriends watching TV, watching shows and enjoying our lives, getting free money. Correct? So that's why I call it the cozy 19. But yeah, we were super cozy and then right here we just we popped down. This was the big fear candle. It's in every chart everywhere, right? And then
True,
we got the
true,
monetary stimulus and we just popped out. We just rolled up. Now, this would be a great place for a reaction. And in fact, the top before the cozy 19 low, this top, the Dow Jones is already bouncing off of it. The Dow
true.
Jones.
True. That is true. That is true. Like you, as I said, you never know. The market can do this in range sideways for
Mhm.
another 3, 4, 5 months.
Right.
It really it's based on economic data in general, and as you can see, we're going through an energy crisis basically.
Yes, we
We're s-
are.
we're seeing global currencies like the pound and the euro basically
Off a cliff.
from $1.12. I remember this because you see this red line right here. This
Mhm.
I call this was the key pivotal area across all markets. I told my guys that I told my team that this was, you see it's even written out. This is where we shorted. I shorted Bitcoin as well. I shorted basically I shorted the euro. I shorted the pound. I've shorted a lot of these tops.
Mhm.
I don't really like to, and I've longed most of these, but we've longed down here and we've shorted up here most. It's basically a game of support and resistance. This was a previous target, these clean highs for us. But if I wanted to show you in general,
Mhm.
if you look at basically look at the euro, look at the S&P 500, and look at Bitcoin. So let's look at the euro to start.
Okay.
And let me remove the logarithmic. Let me add the S&P 500. I will add ETH, basically futures. Look at that correlation, basically.
Okay.
This is the daily time. I'm gonna go into the 4 hour time. Look at
Okay.
the correlation base. So basically, the S&P 500, Bitcoin, the euro, the pound, they've all been one asset
Right.
together. The pound, we've bought the bottom of the pound in general. How did we buy this bottom?
Yeah.
Basically, if we look at it here, we were looking at historical price data. Uh, Basically, there was no more data for us to work with, and the pound reached basically the all-time low from 1985.
That's where you longed it.
We took that out on the retest. You see this orange line right here? That's
Hmm.
where we started along. Even in my academy, I told people to start buying pounds. They can buy pounds instead of dollars. It was near $1.04, $1.06. It's a good investment. Some people even took it from the group.
Okay, so let's say where's your ultimate bottom target for Bitcoin? Everybody's saying between 14K and 11K. I've been calling 14K since 55K. Now everybody's on board with the 11K to 14K, but you know how markets work. If everybody's waiting there, it never happens. Either it gets front run or it falls through, right? So where would you put your target on Bitcoin?
Uh, hmm. Let's look at this together.
Okay.
If I was to look for a bottom, I'm gonna look for a previous all-time high. This is a previous all-time high at 13,900. So was it a previous all-time high? 1 second.
No,
This was
previous all-time
from,
high was about between 19.5 and 20K, depending on what exchanges you were at. So
well, okay, this
the previous
eh,
all-time high was over here. That was a lower high right here before we really went parabolic, before we really went just batshit crazy. This is batshit crazy right here.
true,
this,
but as you can see, when we broke this high, this is when the market structure broke
oh,
basically,
okay,
and
understood.
that's why market got so bullish. This is a swing. It's a swing point. These swing areas are really important. The swing
Okay,
highs and the swing lows. This is one of the most main basic things you should look at on the high time frames. The swing high, the swing levels, the levels that give you a reaction, like these areas, the ones I'm marking out.
okay. So
Price usually likes to revisit this.
the price, yeah, it's old friends. It's price wants to revisit its old friend of 13.5. Is that where that one's lining up at? The next one, the next step down.
Yeah, probably 13, about 14K. Since everyone's waiting for 12K, that would be a good target to front run. To be honest, uh, if you want a quick predict, we probably get something like this. Wait, we probably get something like this now. Boom, come back down, small reaction,
Just a slow,
sideways
painful
here.
grind.
Then you can probably expect the next
Yeah,
bull
I
market.
think you're right, man. I think you're right. I don't know if I agree that we're gonna go to 28K. We might differ on that, but we'll see. I guess it really kind of part of it's kind of a gamble, because who the heck knows what's going to happen with the Fed, with the energy crisis, with the drama in Eastern Europe and things like that. Like who knows what's if that's going to affect the market at all. But I think that we're going to get some clarity after this FOMC meeting. I think we're going to get some clarity on which direction that we're going to pump into. I think that you're right. I think there's a good probability that we do pump into the end of the year into like 28K, get everybody bullish, get everybody in, get everybody excited, and then just crush them back to about 14K. I think that's a good probability, man. I think so.
Well, chances of leading into a recession basically is really high currently. So we need to pivot. If we don't pivot, basically, is Jerome Powell going to be remembered as Volcker or Burns? You know how Burns basically was, in my opinion, he was a terrible banker. And if we look at basically Volcker was amazing
Okay.
at his job. I'm talking about the 1980s. This is 1987 and 1988. That's transition happened when Burns came in.
And he burned it down.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this looks pretty good to me. I want to show you one chart. This is just for me and my viewers. Can you do Hex USDC just to get your eyes on it? And I mean, tell me what you think a good low is for that. I'm predicting anywhere between. I'm predicting the point of control on the monthly chart, which is 1 USDC. Hopefully, that's the yeah. I'm
Coinbase.
predicting about 1.27 cents. Like you said, a lot of people in the West, we really like this coin. It's our favorite pump coin. It's a very good DeFi
Uniswap.
project.
I can find
Yeah,
Uniswap.
Yeah, that's it. It's only on Uniswap. Okay, so
Well,
it's had quite the yeah, logarithmically is probably better. It had quite the rally, about 10,000x, and I caught it down at the bottom and I rode it all the way up, and it really kind of changed things for me. So it's kind of my favorite coin that I like to mentally masturbate to. This one here. So just curious, what you think? Now it has a lot of hype coming up. There's like a movie coming out about it that's professionally shot from like Oscar award winning. I don't know about Oscar, but an award winning group. It's got its own kind of like Ethereum fork. They're forking Ethereum 2.0. That's coming out. It's called Pulse Chain. That should be coming out next year, early 2023 probably. So it's got some hype in the works, you know. It's got a pretty cultish community that's kind of ride or die. Where do you see this thing going? Kind of like that. You see us taking out this previous high and pumping into the end of the year.
yeah, probably. Altcoins they like to pump.
Yeah.
Probably it's gonna follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does this, then yeah, we'll see what this resistance area. It's basically like a W pattern and there's a neckline, but I think it just wants to retest this previous SR level, as we can see, previous
And what's
resistance
that?
here.
Where's that at? That's about 12 cents.
Um,
I can't
you can
see it.
say the almost the 10 cents area. Yeah, probably retest the 10 cents area, then drop back down to the 2 cents area maybe.
Okay, yeah. See that my target is that 0.012 right down there, which will be the very next level right there. Now, the two to the point zero. It's funny that you drew that there because the 0.024 level, that is the 10x from the launch price. So that's kind of like a big mental target for people, is 10x the launch price.
Oh yeah,
I,
we can use this as well. This. Yeah, well, you should, if that's the launch price, we should probably revisit it.
Well, it's 10x the launch price. The launch price was 0.0024, but it's probably not going to go down there. I mean, it could. Anything could happen. That's how this works. But yeah. But anyways, man, we are getting close to the 1 hour mark. Is there anything else that you want to show us, specifically a chart or an idea, or kind of get into like a closing thing, because we really don't want to go over an hour.
Uh, Nothing really. If you guys want to see me chart hex really quick on a small time frame, we see if you guys they
Yeah,
want to
let's
look
check it
over
out.
that.
On the shorter time frame.
Um, okay, I use a method called the top-down method. Basically, I like to work
Okay.
with the range, and the next range I'm gonna work with currently is the Monday range, basically. So let me
Okay.
mark that out really quick. Monday range, Monday
What does
high,
that
Monday
mean?
low. Well, basically, that's when the stock market opens. And since we
Oh, okay.
correlate with the stock market, this day is really important. So basically, this day usually makes a range and price expands through this range. I do it every week.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, when I start the chart, I look at my high time frame. Where we
Hmm.
trading currently, we're looking at Q3. We still haven't taken out the Q3 lows, but we have a nice bounce in general. We look at our rejection. Let me break this down in a small time frame. Our most recent rejection was just shy of the mid range of last quarter, which is the Q3 candle. So, okay,
Giant head and shoulders there.
no worries, no worries. Um, I would like to see this low taken, to be honest, which is Q2 from 2021.
What price is that at? Because it's quite small for me on my screen. Hold on, I can actually
It
make it
comes in,
bigger.
it comes into confluence basically with my previous prices at 1,
0.013.
yeah, 0.0135, yeah, something
That
like
is
that, point zero.
that is my target, man. You just nailed it. That's exactly been my target. Like I would love half a penny, because the all-time high of this thing was 55 cents. So mentally, I would like half a penny, because basically how these markets move is, if you can survive the bear market, typically you'll at least, I mean, if you have the hype, you can revisit the previous ath, or if not break it. So I mean, that's 100x to ath. So like half a penny would be great, yes. But yeah, I'm looking at 0.012 24 is what I'm calling bottom for hex.com. So it's
Uh,
interesting that
hmm. Yeah, yeah, we got about the same area to be honest. I like this one I'm looking at to be honest. So it's you never know which direction it goes, but basically on this small pattern here, if it wants to break, you can see this. If it breaks
hmm
to the downside, you can see this. If it breaks to the downside, I think we see this.
you think we see up to about 4.5 or about 5 cents?
Mm, let me give you the 15-minute time frame. This is gonna break out. You see, it's really a liquid. That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
super liquid.
but
Yeah.
we can maybe expect something like this. Head into this previous swing high level, W,
hmm
reclaim the Monday low, target one Monday high, target two last week's high. That's one trade. Okay.
That's your trade
Um,
setup.
yeah, for the guys watching, if you guys just want to see what plays out, basically, you can take a
hmm
screenshot of this start, and then I'll take a separate trade, basically, and this is going to be a swing position. Where the arrow is, I'm going to draw you the arrow. I'll wait for a breakout here and hold above the mid range for last quarter. Q3 mid range, basically.
hmm
I trade in ranges, as I said. When I see it reclaim and hold above this level, I'll
Yes.
write it back to the 0.75, and from the 0.75, our original target to the 7 cents area, one of our targets actually. We said 10 cents, but we can stop by 0.072 cents on the way. This
hmm
can be a separate trade taken as a swing trade. Bitcoin is confluence, and in general, it doesn't look bad. Look, if you look at it here, one second, let me add something.
Okay.
Hmm. You can see a lot of accumulation going on. All these green candles, basically in general. Uh,
Yes.
let me look at the volume on the high time frame. Still no significant volume. We could probably see this come in soon, to be honest. We want to see something like this, basically. This kind of volume to give us a
Yeah.
spring.
The volume is at an absolute trickle right now. I mean, it is low. It's I wonder if we're on the wrong version, if we're on version 2 or something. But no, that's what people say. But that's real volume back here in May 2021. That's real volume right now. It's just kind of losing. um, yeah, that doesn't have a lot going on. So the volume could come in if the volume comes into the upside. You know, like as soon as if they launch that the movie's coming out, if they launch that if they post that the Ethereum 2.0 fork is coming out, I mean this thing's going to absolute rocket ship. Probably up into what's that your quarter three high with that big bar up there into
This
the
big
10
bar
cent
was a
range.
previous support level, if you remember this swing
Yep.
level.
Okay.
We hadn't found support.
That's
Found
major
support.
right there at 10 cents. Major.
Yeah. Yeah, if we lost this support, I want to see a retest, like support flipped resistance if it wants to stay down here.
Okay.
If we reject here from the 10 cents, yeah, but if you see price, I don't expect this to happen, but if you see price getting above the 10 cents, then this is ready for the next bull, to be honest.
Okay.
You can
That's
target
good to know.
20 cents. You can target 20 cents, and on the way, you'll just target 15 cents.
Okay. Yeah, if we can, yeah, absolutely. Now that you show me this right here, yeah, this is 100% like the
And
most
that's how I
important,
basically
most
trade.
critical level. This is the most critical level. I think the next most critical level is 20 cents, probably because those are those two highs right there, right? Before the big blow off top, you can see 20 cents there,
It,
right?
it is possible. Like I wouldn't short here, to be honest. We can, if you can see this, I've just seen this, to be honest. This swing low right here is significant. It's gotten taken. One second. Let me go to the weekly time frame. If you can see, this was a small consolidation area here.
Yes.
If we went when we went to the daily, so this area is also a really critical area in general. This is something we can expect to visit, to be honest. But was it? No, no, it was this. It was right here. I was looking for something, to be honest. I want to see. Yeah, you see, we took out these lows, so it is possible you see a rally. I am confident you see a rally in this, and you can see some volume coming in 2 million contracts is not bad, to be honest.
Hmm.
So it is possible for a rally. Yeah, that's hex from my side, buddy.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you. And there's a link to the description to your Telegram group. I encourage you guys to check it out. He is up to date. I mean, he's the guy, like, that's where I go and look when it's time to see any economic data. You know, when the PMI drops, it's instantly posted in the SMC channel, housing data, pretty much any of the macros. When it's time for them to drop, I go to your channel, and that's why I have you on here, and I appreciate all of your time. And
Yeah,
hopefully, I can talk with you again very soon.
yeah, guys. Thank you very much. I would really appreciate if you guys come check out the channel. I mostly have premium subscriptions on TradingView, heat maps, high block liquidations, footprints. I post that data sometimes. I got premium subscriptions on Reuters, Bloomberg, the Financial Times, Forbes. So most of the data, most of the news that I post, I'm getting this before most of the economists on Twitter and stuff. So we post a lot of early information. That's what also
Yes.
gives us significance. I'm really
Yep.
fast. That's speed. Speed helps you in these type of markets.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And if guys, if you see economic data, I'm usually reposting in my Telegram group. I'm usually reposting it from him. So if you want to know where that data is coming from, it's from SMC. Okay, and I've been watching a lot of his trading and stuff like that. He posts some of it, and it looks pretty good. So I'm glad we could get his opinion and his take on the markets and on Hex. Okay. So, anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Remember, like and subscribe, join the Wolf Pack, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.